Hey guys, it's Mike from We Are the Batman here. Just want to let you know we have a new website you guys can go to. Just go to podpage.com/We Are the Batman. That's podpage.com/We Are the Batman. You can get all of our episodes there, get a little more information about us, and most importantly, you can leave us reviews and you can leave us comments and messages, send us questions and episode ideas, and you can even leave us voicemails. All these great tools are on the website. Head over to podpage.com/We Are the Batman. We always love to hear from you guys. Head on over there now and check it out. Hey everybody, welcome back to We Are the Batman. I'm Mike.
And this is Matthew.
We're gonna have a fun little back to brand episode, as it were, for the show, because look guys, the show's called We Are the Batman. We haven't talked about a lot of Batman lately, so we wanted to get back to that. We're gonna cover one quick piece of news here, and then we'll get into the good stuff. Plus, we've got a bit of an announcement for you guys, as well as something cool we're gonna be doing on the show going forward. Before we get into all that, Matt, how are you?
I'm doing good, man. I'm ready to rock and roll on this. I'm we're about to roll into what I think we've dubbed James Gunn's Twitter, or James Gunn's Twitter.
We gotta come up with a cool name for this segment, because it's like, all right, and today on James Gunn's Twitter feed, what's up
Tweets
today?
and Geeks.
Yeah.
DC Twitter. I don't know. Gunner. I don't know. We'll shop it out, camera.
The gun show. We're going to the gun show. I don't know.
There we go.
Anyway, so Jay Gunny tweeted out a picture of Matt. You know more about this than I do. What am I looking at here?
The JGT, James Gunn Twitter. How about that?
The JGT.
Anyway.
Okay. Yeah. So what am I looking at here?
Okay, so this is James Gunn has been doing this thing lately where he'll just put up a random picture of something of DC. And the one that kind of sparked me over the past couple of days is he put up a picture. It's the Justice League and the Terrifics. And the Terrifics was a very brief, I think it maybe ran 15. I don't think it made to 20 issues, but it was a comic, came out, I think, in like 2017. No, I'm sorry, 2019. And it was Mr. Terrific leading a superhero group. Plastic Man was on it. I think it was Metamorpho. I don't remember who the girl was, but I think she was an original character.
I do see Metamorpho right there.
Yeah.
You're talking about this girl right here, right above him. I'm going to look up. I'm pulling it up right now so I can figure out.
Yeah. She was like an original. I think she was an original character. She was kind of like a Phantom Girl. Yes. Who maybe not original character, but a new version of her.
So pulling it up here. She's been around a bit.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This is, I think, if memory serves, Phantom Girl is a Legionnaire and or a Charleston character, depending on which way you go.
Yeah, she first.
Point is like this was the newer version of her.
Yeah, she first appeared in Legion of Superheroes.
Yeah,
is where she came from.
Yeah, so this is what I liked about it. Is I've always kind of been like, Mr. Terrific's one of those characters, kind of like Mr. Miracle, where like I like the look, I like what he does. He was great in Justice League Unlimited, but I haven't read a lot of his books. I got into this book because I like Plastic Man. He was in it, and at the time is when I was doing stuff for the comic book store that I was helping do videos.
Right.
So I had to read this book and kind of critique it. And the very last page, they referenced Tom Strong.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know if you remember, Tom Strong was America's Best Comics. He's an Alan Moore character under Wildstorm. When Wildstorm was bought by DC, all that stuff comes over. But this was the first time he had been back in publication and the first time that he had ever appeared in a DC comic. So by the end of like the first 12 issues, Tom Strong is officially 100% in the DCU.
Okay.
So that was why I got excited, because if you remember back when we were doing the bring James Gunn people to DC, I was saying Chris Pratt for Tom Strong.
Yeah.
Even though off air I made a joke about who he might be playing here.
Don't you put that out in the universe. Don't you dare. Not even talk about it.
If you want to know, hit me up on Twitter at Mr. J Ninja.
Absolutely not. But yeah, no, I remember you mentioning Tom Strong. Is like right as I pulled the picture up, I was like, oh yeah, that guy.
Yeah. I always like seeing Plastic Man randomly on a team. So the fact that these characters are in the front of this just makes me wonder, like, dude, it'd be a great team for an animated show.
Hmm.
You
Yeah.
know, you know, Mr. Terrific was cool in in the Justice League show. Plastic Man's always a lot of fun. He mysteriously never appeared in the Justice League, either one of the versions of Justice League. Um, so no, I think it would be great if they did something like that. But it just got me excited because, again, their big storyline, because they were doing like dimension hopping,
Mhm.
was that eventually Tom Strong was there. So for me, if you're going to bring Tom Strong into live action, whoever you cast, that's exciting.
And it's cool because, like, we've said before, James Gunn's all about his weird teams. And I had mentioned, when we were talking about doing teams we'd like to see get adapted, which I don't think that episode's come out yet. I think
Yeah.
we're sitting on that episode still, but one of the ones I mentioned was, and now I'm blanking on the name of it, but the team that
Outsiders.
Outsiders, yeah, because Metamorpho is probably is my favorite character in the Outsiders. So, um, the Terrifics is Mr. Terrific, like you said, like he's a character, like he's cool on paper. And he has a small role to play in Justice League Unlimited. It's not a huge, he just kind of fills in the Martian Manhunter role when he kind of goes AWOL for a bit. He was also in the Arrowverse, and the less said about that interpretation of Mr. Terrific, the better. Um, it just was not, that was kind of when the Arrowverse really jumped the shark, is when they brought him in, because it just wasn't a good fit. Um, but I love weird teams, and like Plastic Man, it's a weird dude. Metamorphos, weird dude. Like there's a lot of potential here, and like you said, going into an animated series, you could just have fun with this. And James Gunn is at his best when he's having fun.
Correct. And I think, and this is one of those where something like the Terrifics is such an off brand, not known thing that you could do whatever you want with it. Because again,
Yeah.
I hate to, we try not to do this for everything, but like nobody knew who the Guardians were.
Nope. We
So
say this. I think we say this like every week. Like, yeah, nobody knew who the Guardian. That was the one. That was the first Marvel project where everybody was like, "Oh, this is going to be the one that flops. This is
yeah,
going to be the one that missteps." And it's one of their most successful properties in the MCU.
correct. So yeah, I think that's it. I just wanted to touch on that because,
Yeah,
like I said, Tom Strong, cool team, fun stuff. I'm really curious as to how much of the stuff he keeps putting up really is going anywhere, or if he's just like, I might think of this.
I'm when James Gunn starts tweeting comic book frames, I get everybody gets a little excited because we know something's coming.
Yeah,
And we know we've still got a lot more of announcements to come when we get into the second half of this year. So looking forward to what's next. If it's good stuff, it's good stuff. I'm here for fun. I'm here to have fun. Speaking of having fun, let's have some fun here on the rest of the show, Matt. We're gonna well, before we get into the main thing. So to give you guys an idea of what we're planning on doing going forward, because I don't want to bury the lead here. Um, so it's a Batman show, it's a DC show. So what we thought would be a good idea to do, this was Matt's idea, and I was really into it, is we're going to there's been a lot of Batman movies. Lot of Batman movies. So what we decided we would do is we would kind of once a month, we're gonna dedicate an entire episode to breaking down the Batman movies in chronological order, and just doing this deep dive into the Batman in film lore that we have, and really getting a chance to really explore firsthand in real time how this character has evolved in the movies, going all the way up to when we eventually get to present day with the Batman, in the hopes that this will carry us far enough to getting closer to when stuff for the Batman Part 2 starts coming out, and stuff for the Penguin series on HBO Max, because right now we're in a little short supply of actual Batman news. So we're gonna start doing that. We're gonna drop the first one at the end of April. We'll be dropping these once a month on the last Friday of every month. So whatever the last Friday of the month is when we will drop these. And we are going to go as far back as, I believe we said, the 66 Batman movie.
We're undecided. So
Yeah,
if you want to vote,
we're debating that.
if you want to vote and say yes, please go back to the Batman 66. We want to hear you guys discuss it.
Yeah,
Vote in the Facebook group or on Twitter. We'll put something up here pretty soon,
yeah.
so we can get you guys voting on that.
So your options are going to be: do we start with 66 Batman or do we start with 89 Batman? Those will
Yeah.
be. We're not going back to the black and white serials. Absolutely
Yeah.
not. That not. I wouldn't even know where to find those, to be honest with you.
I'm sure there's a DVD somewhere, but it's also the live action. So we're
Yeah,
not going to discuss, because I think we've discussed it in several different lists. Mask of the Phantasm, which is animated but did have a theatrical release.
it did, and we love that movie, but we're focusing on the live action with these, especially because there's only been one animated feature like theatrically released. Well, I guess you can count Lego Batman movie. We're also not going to do Lego Batman movie.
For multiple reasons.
I, I love that movie, so we're going to move on from there. But we'll start doing that the last Friday of April, and we'll do one a month over the course until we're done. So we'll be doing that. So that's going to be fun. But in order to get that, let's first get an idea of where the Batman films lie with us as far as the theatrically released Batman movies. And so what we're going to do today is we're going to break down our respective top three Batman theatrical movies. We have one rule, which is simply one movie per franchise, so that you can't put the entire Dark Knight trilogy in this category.
Or the entire Snyderverse.
Exactly,
Or
like
whatever. Like,
one per franchise.
by doing that, that just means that we're not going to talk about the same three movies, because I know for a fact that we have different favorites in some of those franchises. So, because it'd be boring if we were just here for like 2 seconds going like, this.
Yeah. And who knows? We might have a lot more overlap on this than we think. I could be wildly wrong. But it's still, even if we're still very similar, it's a great chance for us to just, again, like, we're reestablishing that this is a Batman show first, then a DC show second, a comic book show third. And if we're going to start deep diving into the Batman films, let's at least get an idea of what our favorites are, what it is that we look for as far as checking the boxes for what we want in a Batman movie. So as we deep dive into these past ones going forward, you guys will have a better idea of where we're coming from, what we're looking for in a good Batman movie.
Correct. All right. You're younger, you start.
Tell that to my knees. All right. Well, my number three, we've already mentioned it, is Mask of the Phantasm.
I just said it has to be live action.
No, we said that for the monthly things. We didn't say that for this list.
Oh, you mother.
Okay, fine. Well, then if I'm taking Mask of the Phantasm off the list, then you go first, because I got to think about what my number three is now.
Okay, so this is where I keep going back and forth, because my two and my three, I keep, and that's what's going to make you mad. But I think I have to, no matter what, keep Batman Forever as my number three.
Okay.
Okay. Like,
I know you really like that movie.
I really feel like the movie Val Kilmer is making is not the movie we got. And I really like his portrayal of Bruce Wayne and Batman. I think his suit is the coolest. I mean, I would dare say until Pattinson's.
Nipples notwithstanding, it's a cool suit.
I mean, the nipples, I'm back and forth on it. They're not so much predominant as they were in the later ones. But my thing is, like, Batman should be sleek. He should be lithe. He should be quick. You can't do that in any of the Keaton suits. You can't do that in some of the other, like as much as he does look like the Dark Knight Returns version of Batman. I don't buy that Ben Affleck can have any sense of speed in that suit.
Oh, I love that suit.
Like, I appreciate that it's gray.
Yeah.
Thank God, because I don't like the all black. But I just feel like the suit is lithe. It's the first time you see Batman actually getting to do stuff as far as like fighting and acrobatics. And so, like, everything Batman in that movie hits me perfectly. The rest of it is crap, which is why it's number three. And I had to kind of sit here and go like, no, as much as my number two has its other issues, this one, like, they outweigh it so bad. I don't mind Chris O'Donnell as Dick Grayson. it's a weird, like, I know why they did what they did with him,
Yeah.
but if you are selling me a Dick Grayson who inexplicably in his later teenage years can't live on his own, Chris O'Donnell's fine. I think
Yeah.
he does a really good job in this movie. I there's nothing about what he's doing that makes me go, "Man, I wish I would have cast somebody else."
Yeah.
Um,
The problem's not Chris O'Donnell. The problem is what they gave him to work with.
yeah, the earring thing is weird. The laundromat thing is weird. But
That whole scene is so stupid. The laundry scene is so stupid. You know what'll make him a great vigilante? He spins socks.
yeah, yeah. So, and I'm glad that he washed one set of clothes. That's efficient laundry. But anyway, but I think that all of that, I've said it nauseum. And dude, I will say the first like 5-10 minutes of that movie is the most Batman of all Batman movies. For him to do, like, he arrives, banters with the commissioner, goes up the elevator, gets in a really cool fight scene, gets captured, gets his way out of the trap, then fights, gets dragged around by a helicopter, climbs up, headbutts through, fights with Two-Face, jumps in the water, escapes death, and everything's okay. Like, dude,
It's a
I'm
very
sorry.
Batman sequence. And I will say this, I really like Val Kilmer's Batman voice.
Yeah.
His Batman voice. I think Val Kilmer as Batman on paper was excellent casting. Again, it was just kind of what he was given to work with. His Batman voice, Val Kilmer has a great voice. Well, had a great voice. Unfortunately, he can't really speak anymore, which is heartbreaking. But he had a great voice for Batman. Like in terms
Yeah.
of getting close to Kevin Conroy, he got
Yeah.
close. It was
Are you
very
trying
good.
to get under my cape, doctor?
She's probably the worst part of that movie, and that's a shame considering it's Nicole Kidman, but Nicole Kidman's probably the worst part of that movie. Well,
No,
Tommy Lee
no,
Jones.
no,
Tommy Lee Jones.
no. Everything out. I mean, anyway, we won't have to get into
That's
that
the whole
until that
thing.
episode.
But no, like I know you really like this movie. You have a huge, big soft spot for Batman Forever, which I get. There is a lot to like about Batman Forever. It is by no means the worst Batman movie, and for some people, it's their favorite, and I kind of get it.
Yeah, and like I said, but I'm never gonna sit here and go, it's the best Batman movie. I'm never gonna say Riddler and Two Face and all the other aspects of it work because they don't.
Mhm.
But like I'll, like, dude, every so often I'll watch it.
Mhm.
Or the coolest thing for me with this movie is I remember I was watching a scene and my daughter walked in, and it's that scene where Batman comes down, lands on that pillar, and then does like a front flip spin land and takes out a dude.
Mhm.
And she's like, "That was pretty cool." I'm like, "Oh yeah, that was cool." That's Batman fighting, not I
Nicole
can't
Dad.
turn my head and I can just do the arm blocks up like a boxer. So
Yeah.
anyway, that's my number three. What's your number three? Did you find one?
All right, so my number 3, then that bumps a few things up. I had to turn to the sacred text being my letterboxed, and, so for me, then that bumps, Batman 1989 up to number 3.
Okay, okay. I
It's
can see that.
and I've talked about how I think that's my favorite Batmobile, personally. It's, like, just that right amount of camp, but it's sleek enough. I love the turbine intake on the front, that makes so much sense. It's bat themed enough without being silly. I really like that Batmobile. I like his bat suit. The not being able to turn your head thing notwithstanding, that's just a design flaw. But like if you take that away, it's a pretty good suit. I like the yellow bat. Like it's an all black suit, but I like the black on yellow bat symbol. I like the yellow utility belt. I love the look of his bat cave, and I love their look for Gotham City. Um, 89's Batman is just enough of a mystery detective story to be interesting. I like that Michael Keaton creates separate characters for Bruce Wayne and Batman. You can tell what he's putting on the facade and when he's not. Jack Nicholson's Joker is just a treasure. It's if you want the funny gangster Joker, like Nicholson's is the go to for that one. Um, and it felt like a passion project. It felt like Tim Burton was really into what they were doing. And my God, the Danny Elfman score, that Batman
Yes.
theme is excellent. Like that is when Danny Elfman did when Joss we had the Joss Whedon version of Justice League. Say what you will about the movie. I love that Danny Elfman incorporated the original Batman theme into it several times.
Yeah.
And I love that in the new Flash trailer, when we see Michael Keaton's Batman come back, they incorporate that in there as well. That is an excellent Batman theme. There's just it's got all those things I'm looking for in a Batman movie: the mystery, the gothic intrigue, a little bit of noir, and but also just enough fun. Who doesn't love the part where he says, "Where does he get all these neat toys?"
Yeah.
Who has not at some point quoted, "You want to get nuts? Come on, let's get
nuts."
You want to dance? You ever dance the devil in the pale moonlight? There's so many good quotes in this movie.
I ask that of all my prey. I just like the sound of it.
It sounds.
No, I think my biggest issue with it is that just take the romance. If you took Vicky Vale and all of that and her and the reporter out of that movie, I think you get a really nice streamlined Batman versus Joker film.
Robert Wall is definitely the part of it. There's one thing I got to say about this movie that needs to go away. It's Robert Wall.
Yeah,
even Vicky Vale is fine. I don't even mind having Vicky Vale. Robert Wall does serve no purpose.
Not taking away his performance, and he has a couple of cool, like, oh look, he is a reporter, but he is trying to help people. Like, it's not like he's just this d-bag that I hate. It's just like this movie's called Batman.
Yeah,
not watching two reporters run around.
Yeah, his stuff was good. It just didn't need to be there.
Yeah, but I think that that I cannot dispute how defining this was for Batman.
Yeah.
Through the 90s and early, like, it really does define what we think Batman is. It totally defines what the cartoon that we all love is. So and everything you're saying is correct. I've still just can't get into Keaton as Batman. Like, I think he does what he can.
Yeah,
but it's just like I never could buy it, and I hate that. But no, I mean,
I love him as Batman. I really do.
It's a bit dated. Like, it's hard to go back and watch because of the suit. But I think the suit is more, they didn't know what to do. You don't have 30 years of comic book movies like the MCU did when they start creating their suits. Like, they're just like, what was the last superhero movie? Condor Man.
Don't you ever say the name of that movie in front of me again. Whoever, like, that's Condor Man is one of those movies that's like that I bring up where I'm like, the number of desks this had to cross and get approval from, and this is what got made. That movie is wolf.
But my point is, like, as much as I don't like that suit, like, there was no precedent.
Yeah,
they were creating, and they're just like, this is what we can do.
Adam West was wearing a unitard and a sheet, like.
And I think they were just trying to get so far away from that they're like, this is what we can do. Now, I wish that they would get away from that, and they have recently, but that has always been my biggest complaint about Batman, which is, kind of going to what the Kilmer thing is like. He just needs to be able to move.
Yeah.
Like, but no, but yeah, I can't dispute that. I can't get mad at you.
Yeah. It set a lot of precedent, and it set a lot of inspiration for what we've had for the last,
ever
40 almost 30 plus years of Batman movies. All right, what's your number 2?
My number 2 is The Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to wait to talk about it as your number 1?
Let's wait to talk about it as my number 1.
Okay.
We all knew it was coming. Well, then I wonder if my number 2 is your number 1. My number 2 is The Dark Knight.
It is not my number 1.
Oh, interesting. Oh, wow. I'm actually really curious what your number 1 is now. I'm actually genuinely curious. Yeah, my number 2 is The Dark Knight. It's the
great
Dark
film. Yeah.
It's what else can you say about The Dark Knight that hasn't been said a million times? Heath Ledger's Joker, the conversation we just had about the suit not being able to move around in it. This is the first movie to put that, like, in context in the movie. He's like, oh, you want to be able to turn your head? Yeah, make backing out the driveway a lot easier, and also not dying. Was the final product they came up with so we could turn his head great? Debatable. I have my issues with Bale's Batman 2.0 suit. I actually liked his first one better personally.
Yes, yes,
Uh,
yes.
but his second one, for what they were going for, was fine. It just, I was like, oh, the chin, oh, the cowl on that suit is really bad. Uh, but uh, but the movie as itself, again, like there's the mystery solving detective story, there's the noir elements, and Heath Ledger's Joker is just, it's a masterclass. Like there will
Yeah.
be college filmmaking courses and acting courses taught specifically about Heath Ledger's Joker performance in 10 years. Like it's again, I don't know what else I can say about this that I and others have not said a million times over.
Yeah. I think the big thing with The Dark Knight is this is the first time you get a superhero movie, in my opinion, that is a different genre.
Yes. It's not a
So
this is not a comic book movie. This is a crime thriller with superhero sprinkles on top.
correct. And I think that's like you don't get Winter Soldier
No. Absolutely.
without The Dark Knight. You don't get
Absolutely.
them saying like, "Hey, you know what we can do? We could just put Captain America is the most quote unquote normalish superhero. We could just put him in a spy thriller, just like they put Batman in a crime noir,
Yeah.
and it'll be great." And
Every everything up to the Dark Knight that was a comic book movie, they treated the comic book movie as if it was its own genre. And to
yeah,
kind of borrow from something Guillermo del Toro said about animation, where he's like, animation is not a genre, it's a medium. It's
yes,
a it comic book movies since the Dark Knight have done just that. No longer is comic book movie the genre, it's just the style. It's the medium you're using
yeah,
to tell a political thriller like in Winter Soldier, or a, you know, a heist movie like an Ant-Man, or a noir crime thriller like The Dark Knight.
yeah,
It's a movie based on a comic book, but it's not this is not the 1990 Captain America comic book movie,
yeah.
which the less
And
said
see,
about that, the better.
yeah. Well, and this is where this will kind of roll into some other stuff, but like I really like this movie a lot. Like
Mhm.
it was at the top of my list for years and years. But the problem is like over the last, I'd say 5 to 7 years, it's kind of lost its luster. Because part of what makes this movie great is if you've never seen it, the weird paths it goes and the
Mm,
things that surprise you, it's just like, oh my gosh. But like rewatch. Performance is still there, but like I think I don't like I said, I think the sheen has just gone away from me. So it's
mm.
kind of dropped a little bit on my list, which is why my number one is Batman Begins.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna say Returns for a minute, and I was like, "Well, there's only 2, because I know it's not gonna be a single one that Ben Affleck was in." Um, so okay, so your number 1 is Begins.
Yes, my number
Okay.
one is Batman Begins because I feel like,
Begins is a good movie. Eh,
dude,
it's a
like
good movie.
just watching Christian Bale get to act.
Mhm,
Because the thing with the Dark Knight is like he is more he's Batman so much in that you don't get Bruce Wayne that much, and
mhm.
he doesn't really get to do anything. Like he's in this movie and he's trying to, but he's with like Gordon's doing a lot, and
Yeah.
what's the other guy? Two Face is doing a lot. There's so much other stuff going on. Batman isn't center stage of that movie.
That's
He's
why
part of the team taking down Joker.
That's why Dark Knight sits at my number 2, is because while the movie's called The Dark Knight, it's a Joker movie.
Yeah,
It's a Joker movie first and which all things considered, it's fine. Like, that's not a bad thing. But as far as Batman movies go, Batman's kinda not the main character in The Dark Knight. He's there, but he's
yeah.
more or less the audience. Like, he's just kind of the through line through the whole thing.
He's playing catch up the whole time.
Yeah.
Um, but no, so Batman Begins is my number one. I really feel like you've got an origin that isn't overplayed
Mhm.
because yeah, you get his parents' death, but you get that time frame that we never see, which is
Yeah.
this like late teens, early 20s, finding his way and what he's gonna do.
I equate the handling of his parents' death in Batman Begins to how they handled Uncle Ben's death in The Amazing Spider-Man. Because when Uncle Ben dies in the first Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, he Uncle Ben exists in that movie to die. That is his
Yeah.
only reason for existing in that movie, is to die. Whereas Martin Sheen's Uncle Ben in The Amazing Spider-Man, we spend a lot of time developing Uncle Ben as a character so that
Yeah.
when he dies, it hurts. We're crying with Peter.
Yeah.
With Batman Begins, we spend so like this isn't just Batman's origin story in how it like it is. People talk about like origin stories. Like, this is not like the Iron Man origin story where it's like we're just here to get to where he has the Iron Man suit. Batman
Yeah.
Begins is the quintessential superhero origin story because he's not really truly Batman until Act 3.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, he puts on the suit well before then, but he is not like definitively like Batman until he has to go and until like the gas starts spreading. All that time we spend leading up to his parents' death and him confronting it makes us give a shit. So we don't have this complaint of, oh, I don't want to see Batman's parents die again. I don't mind seeing his parents die again if it's handled like the way Batman Begins does it.
Yeah, because they're characters that we care about. I mean, the dad is like the mom doesn't say a single damn thing,
That's true.
which is weird, but we're not going to get into that right now.
Yeah.
But no, I think that's the thing with I really like this movie. It is 100% a Batman movie. It gives me the thing that I think Batman films so rarely do is like when he catches up to Ra's al Ghul at the end, you're like, yeah, I don't know if he's going to win this one, guys.
Not sure. Batman can't stop a train. He's not.
Well, just his fight with Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah.
Like traditionally in the comics, Ra's al Ghul defeats Batman, especially when if it's sword fighting, Batman doesn't stand a chance.
Mhm.
So like to see like, oh wow, this is going to be interesting. And I've said it several times, like the Liam Neeson just gets me every time. Like I'm still pissed to this day that I did not see that he was actually Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah, no, that caught me off guard in the movie. I was, 14 when I saw it, but
Yeah. We don't have
um
to get into how old I was, but
but also like if you're telling me Ken Watanabe is going to play Ra's al Ghul, I'm also like, yeah, okay, that's fine. I like
Yeah.
Ken Watanabe a lot.
Yeah. But
So
no, I think that was my thing. Is I really like Bale actually gets to put in a solid performance as all the characters. I don't really have an issue with his voice. I understand why people do, but I don't. But it's not as
it gets worse as the movies go on. In
yes,
Begins, it's fine. In Begins, it's perfectly fine.
yeah. My only biggest thing I don't like about this movie, besides Katie Holmes casting,
Yeah.
is I wish the moment he says he's Batman was so much more dramatic because no one has topped the first Batman movie.
Nope.
He's holding the guy over the side of the I'm Batman.
You're gonna tell your friends about me.
Yeah.
You're gonna tell them I'm here. Who are you? I'm Batman through a wall. I
Yeah.
like the one in Begins, but the one in Begins felt like it was only there to be a callback to 89.
Yeah. Yeah, crouched down, holding an old guy through the sunroof of his car, and then you headbutt him. Not the same effect. I feel like there's so much more you could have done.
Mhm.
Like I would have loved to, who is this guy? And then he turns around and Batman's upside down. I'm Batman.
Yeah.
And they go away.
Where are you? Here. That was cool.
Yeah.
I will say though, I do like that scene when Batman goes to the docks and is
Yeah.
full Batman ninjaing everybody. That's a good scene. That's an excellent sequence.
Yeah.
I like
And
Batman Begins a lot.
yeah, and I will say, and I know we differ, I do admit that the Batman 89 Batmobile is very, very, very cool. But the Tumbler's just so
I don't like the Tumbler. I know everyone loves the Tumbler. I don't like the Tumbler. It's so ridiculous.
and which is why it's great.
I just don't like it. I really want to. I really want to like it. It hurts my heart that I don't like it.
Do the physics of a tank Ferrari driving across a rooftop of a house make any sense?
No,
Zero.
no.
A rampless jump? No. But does it look fantastic on film? Yes. Them following him and he's jumping building to building and then gets onto but yes.
Do you know what?
Yes.
You know what I think my biggest problem with it is at no point in the movie and a half that we get to see the Tumbler at no point do I believe it can go as fast as they're saying it can go. Like
I
they
don't know.
put
You need to watch those behind the scenes things. That
mm,
car is actually really damn fast.
sure, because it's just a hollow skeleton, but like the actual Tumblr in universe being able to do all the things it can do, have all the stuff that it does, and move that. I never feel like it's moving as fast as they're saying it's moving.
That's what the jet engine's
I
for.
don't buy it. I don't buy. I never. It never seems
I
like
can
it's
see that.
going that fast.
It's not a small sleek thing.
No,
It's
it's
a
not. Like
big ol' vroom.
that's why I like the Bat Pod. Like the now, granted, the Bat Pod popping out of the front of the tumbler is ridiculous on a level I can't even begin to put into words.
That's an ejection seat. I don't understand what your problem is.
But the Bat Pod itself, I think, is really freaking cool. And I think for this Batman works a little bit better than the Tumbler does. And the less said about the flying machine in Dark Knight Rises, the better.
Yeah, yeah, that's why we didn't even talk about that
Yeah,
movie because
yeah.
I don't know what movie you're talking about.
Nope.
So yeah, all
Love
right,
the movie, but no, dude, Batman Begins rules.
yeah, all right. So let's get to your number one.
It's the
You're the
Batman. We
Batman.
all
Yeah,
know it's the Batman. Look,
yes.
and I told Matt this off mic. Like I tried very hard to not make the Batman my number one because I don't necessarily want to be that guy. But if we're having an honest conversation with ourselves and with all of you and with each other, and we talk about looking for movies that check the boxes of what we want in a Batman movie, in a Batman story, the Batman does it. The Batman checks every box I need checked to have. Like I walked out of the first time I saw this movie in theaters, I walked out of the theater truly speechless. There were
Yeah.
several moments watching this movie, the Batmobile chase, for example, which is one of the best sequences I think I've ever seen in a Batman movie, where when it was over, I felt myself go, oh, and then I realized I'd been holding my breath the whole time because the
Yeah.
minute that engine starts revving, I was just like, and then I just didn't breathe again for a while. The Batman and it's just man, I and we talked about it a lot on this show, but what Matt Reeves and Robert Pattinson and the whole team, cast and crew, did with this movie. I mean, this is like it feels like the highest budget fan film ever made, and I mean
Yeah.
that with as 100% a compliment. It is truly one of the greatest love letters to Batman I think I've ever experienced. And as someone who, at my age with the things I've seen and the stuff I've watched and being as into film and writing as I am, the things I want in a house money Batman movie, this thing gave me stuff I didn't even know I wanted or stuff that I had wanted to see for a long time, but was so sure like no one's ever gonna have the balls to do this with a mainstream comic book movie, especially not Batman. They're gonna do what's gonna make them money, and
Yeah.
especially after the success of the Nolan trilogy, it was like they're just gonna end up doing that. And for them to pull off things I only ever dreamed of actually seeing in a Batman movie, like there's a reason I watch this movie once a week. Like I like whether it's the movie or the Joker scene or the behind the scenes stuff or just going on a YouTube or Wikipedia rabbit hole of just reading up on the making of this movie. I like this is a movie that like reaffirmed why I got into filmmaking and why I got into writing in the first place was the Batman. I mean, I truly like the for some reason it still hasn't taken the number one spot as my favorite movie of all time. That's still Blade Runner. And I'm honestly not sure why. To be honest, there's just something about Blade Runner in general that I don't know. Blade Runner is still number one, but I'm running out of reasons for it to be number one. Like all it would take would be for the Batman to have been a Batman Beyond movie, which is just Blade Runner Batman, and then so if they make a Batman Beyond movie that's of the same caliber as the Batman, congratulations, I have a new favorite movie.
Yeah.
I can't say it enough, man. The Batman did everything for me I needed it to do, and then some. And it just feels good to be so engrossed in this world. Like if they never made a sequel to Joker, I loved Joker. If they never made a sequel to Joker, I'd be fine. I know they are, and I'm looking forward to it. But I would have been fine, like, "Oh, cool, that was a cool adventure in this world, but I don't need to see any more of it." I have so like the minute I walked out of the Batman, I was like, I need everything. I need to live in this world. I need more. I need a never ending supply of this. It's it does everything for me, man.
Yeah, I think it's the thing for me, similar to Batman Forever, is how well Pattinson makes this work. I mean, as much as I love Val Kilmer,
Yeah.
Pattinson being able to somehow act through the cowl is nothing short of genius. It's fantastic. My biggest gripe at the movie, which is why it was going back and forth in Batman Forever,
Mhm.
is like, yeah, I have to say, it's just too long. Like, I really feel like I know.
I
Like,
I and
either
I know I'm the guy who's like, I love long movies. So I know that I'm kind of an oddity with that. So when people say like it's too long, my initial reaction is, but I also have to remind myself not everybody likes 3-hour movies, Mike.
I don't mind a 3-hour movie.
Yeah.
My thing is this, like, it's kind of weird considering like I've watched RRR like 5 times and it's 3 hours. But like I feel like in this movie, this is, and I think I've said this before, like it should have either been about going after the Riddler or about going after the crime families. I feel like you mixed, this is, to me it's two movies, and you weren't sure you were going to get a sequel and you wanted to tell all your ideas, which is why it's nearly 3 hours long. And I'm with you. Like when it was like, okay, cool, he's caught the Riddler. Oh, this didn't work out. It's done. And they're like, oh no, we have another 45, and there's a whole nother action sequence. I was like, okay, like I like it. I love it. I love the world. I'm here. I like watching Pattinson work. But that is my big thing. Is I it is a very good 3 hours, but it feels like 3 hours. Does that make sense?
It does. I think for me it doesn't, again, because it's for me, I have such an easy time getting lost in this world. And because while I can appreciate what you're going for, where it does kind of feel like two different movies, but I think they did this for, again, just for me. I think they did such a good job making those two plots complement each other, because it's not like they have nothing to do with each other. They
Yeah.
do.
Oh,
They
it blends.
they blend.
Yeah.
You could totally make those as two separate movies. Absolutely, you could make one the setup for the other without question. And I think that's kind of why I think that kind of pushes it even higher for me, is why it goes to number one, is because the craftsmanship that had to go into interweaving these two stories is a feat in and of itself. Like at no point do I go, yeah, these don't work together. And I'm like, no, this makes total sense. This would be something as buried into society as this level of corruption would like, it wouldn't be a simple story. Like there would
Yeah.
be a lot to it. So if anything, that just kind of makes it more believable for me.
Yeah. And it's like again, it's not letting it be number one. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like it's not like, oh, this movie sucks because it's
Right.
three
Like
hours long.
it's still your number two.
Yeah. So it's not like it's like I hate this movie. It sucks. Like it's still like I would even say like, you know, would I watch it before I watch The Dark Knight? At this time, yeah. Like I keep wanting to go back and watch it again. Like I have to, this is where you're gonna get really mad at me. I think I've watched it through twice. Once in the theater, and I've watched it like I watched it again like through work. I think like a month or two after it hit HBO Max.
Okay.
I like watch it beginning to end over a couple days. Now, I have also gone back and watched the first like 10 minutes of it 6 times.
Oh my god. Oh, that
The
opening sequence is so good.
yeah,
Hey, for
the
about 5 minutes, this movie's gonna be a horror movie. Just letting you guys
yeah.
know right now.
I had to rearrange my speaker system.
Oh,
So
really?
I moved the subwoofer and the speakers closer to the couches.
Oh.
So the car chase was the test.
Oh.
So I think I watched it 3 times in a row that day
Oh.
because the subwoofer is now next to the love seat. So it shakes the entire love seat now.
Excellent.
So he's like, "Vroom, vroom," and the whole love seat's like, vroom, vroom.
It is
So yeah.
it's a movie that's got, um it's got great pieces of just exposition and storytelling that are just captivating to watch, but it's also got great standalone like fun sequences like the car chase, like the final action sequence at the community center. Like there's also just great pockets. You can be like, I don't feel like watching the movie, but I'd love to watch the Batmobile take down Penguin again. I can sit down for 5 minutes and watch that. I can sit down and watch the action sequence. I can sit down and watch him breaking into Penguin's club or whatever. Like there's cool little pockets you can just watch and still get the enjoy, or the interrogation scene with the Riddler. Or if you just want to enjoy the storytelling, you can just watch the movie.
Yeah. So it's good. Again, it's in my number 2.
Yeah.
Almost my number 3, but still better than Batman Forever.
But Batman Begins is a great fucking movie. So I'm not mad.
Yeah.
I'm not mad.
It is fantastic.
Well,
those are our tops.
Yeah.
What are your tops? What are you thinking? What's your, do you have a 4-ish?
Yeah. We want to hear you. Oh, my 4?
Just if you could use any of the franchise.
It's probably going to be either BVS or Zack Snyder's Justice League. And I know you're not as big a fan of those as, yeah. Yeah. If I know you're not the biggest fan of them, but I love the Snyder stuff. I love Ben Affleck's Batman. And because you wouldn't let me put Mask of the Phantasm on here, you're a monster for that. And so you should be ashamed of yourself for not letting me do that.
I would break the rule and put in Dark Knight.
All right, guys, that is going to do it for us here on We Are the Batman. We'd love to hear what your top Batman movies are. Make sure you can let us know a bunch of different ways. You can head over to our website, podpage.com/wearethebatman. You can head over to Facebook at facebook.com/group/fanboyjunction with a K. You can let us know on Twitter at We Are the Batman. You can find me on Twitter at Mr. Mike Shane. You can find Matt on Twitter at Mr. J Ninja. We'll be back again next time with a brand new episode of We Are the Batman. Same bat time, same bat podcast channel. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Hey guys, it's Mike from We Are the Batman here. Just want to let you know we have a new website you guys can go to. Just go to podpage.com/wearethebatman. That's podpage.com/wearethebatman. You can get all of our episodes there, get a little more information about us, and most importantly, you can leave us reviews and you can leave us comments and messages, send us questions and episode ideas, and you can even leave us voicemails. All these great tools are on the website. Head over to podpage.com/wearethebatman. We always love to hear from you guys. Head on over there now and check it out.